This video is sponsored by Hattons of London, specialists in rare and exclusive coins. Celebrate 100 years since the naming of Flying Scotsman with the release of this world-first range of 22-carat gold sovereign coins. Click the link in the description below to get yours now from just £69, or secure the more exclusive double sovereign in the range and receive a piece of authentic Flying Scotsman boiler tube, so you can actually own your very own piece of Britain's most famous locomotive. So the final Grand Tour special is now available on Amazon Prime, marking the end of an era that's come to characterise nearly a quarter of a century. Meanwhile, the show that reached international notoriety with the Grand Tour crew at the helm has been officially rested following a life-changing accident with one of its more recent presenters. So it looks like there won't be a big mainstream car show on television beyond the various niche ones. Now, those who tune into me regularly would know that steam engines are my usual shtick, but I make no apologies when I say part of the inspiration for doing this job full-time was the 2002 format of Top Gear, presented by Jeremy Clarkson, Richard Hammond and James May. I love the cinematography and editing style. I love the fully believable happy accident chemistry between the presenters. I love their ability to make cars a more accessible subject through various stunts and comedy routines. I love the attention to detail that the whole production crew puts in to make a pokey motoring show look almost like $1 million mini-movie every week. And I love the fact that despite respect for their bosses, they're not afraid to occasionally break the fourth wall by poking fun at the BBC, current events, their competitors, their detractors, the motor industry, each other and so on. Every so often, mainstream television needs a form of postmodernist punk programming that takes convention by the neck of the guitar and smashes it all over the stage. Shows like Monty Python, The Young Ones, Tiswas and The Simpsons took a complete left turn against the tide and made other shows feel they had to copy their formula in order to ride the coattails of their success. And I would argue that Top Gear has inspired many in the same way. Now, I'm not saying that I completely get behind everything Top Gear has said and done. I don't agree with many of Clarkson's personal views. There were some segments that felt a bit contrived and forced. I didn't think the trio's jab at Mexico was especially funny or called for. There were one or two other moments where the wrong thing was said here and there which could have been avoided. I think it was wrong for one of them to punch a producer, and while I agree that those three were what made the show such a great success and nobody could have replaced them, the idea that he should have been let off from that sort of behaviour would never apply to anyone else in the workplace. But the irony is that when each one of them stops messing around, they can take people by surprise, delivering hyperbolic yet informative entertainment that often makes you feel a little more knowledgeable having seen it. If you don't believe me, then feel free to check out one of Clarkson's war stories, his farming show, Hammond's workshop, or maybe James May's Cars of the People or his Toy Stories. Our Man In has its moments too, of course, but any travelogue going up against one of Michael Palin's shows has some big shoes to fill. So why am I talking about a motoring show when steam trains are my usual forte? Well, I think a good chunk of the online transport community owes its existence to the 2002 format of Top Gear. Whether it's a group of people talking about cars to a camera, or strapping minicams to a vehicle and talking to one mounted in the passenger seat while driving it, or any number of road trip or cheap car challenge videos, or trying to adapt elements of that format to another form of transport, or just memes. There's really not much more to it, just memes. It's kind of hard to get away from these three when dabbling in any of these circles. More's the pity their spell with the BBC ended the way that it did, because it led to an inevitable come-down afterwards. I don't mean to bash the BBC here, but there seem to be times when they haven't always helped themselves in the aftermath. Trying to continue with the same sort of thing but with different people would obviously produce mixed results no matter how hard you tried. Me personally, I don't have a problem with Top Gear continuing somehow, so long as you try taking a fresh approach to the formula, which the BBC not only missed with the content, but with the faces. See, upon announcing the formation of a new lineup, a call was put out for auditions for new presenters, the brief being, just present up to 30 seconds of you talking to a camera saying what you like about cars. No fancy editing, no road tests, just you and your words. And it turns out, despite many sending their audition reels in, apparently none of them were seen. I understand this not because other people have talked about it on their channels, but because I was one of them. Okay, look, I had no intention of actually getting a job on Top Gear. Much as I adored that show in its heyday, I knew that whoever followed Clarkson, Hammond and May would never match their output, and whoever landed the job would effectively be dragging an ocean liner to the top of Everest with a length of thin barbed wire tied to their gentleman's sausage. But when you're freelance, you just have to go for any chance that comes up in order to pay the bills. And when something like that comes up, it's kind of one of those once-in-a-lifetime kind of deals. So you're better off at least trying to go for it and seeing what becomes of it. On your honour, for your pride, you'll sleep better knowing you tried and all that stuff. My audition video, thankfully long since vanished from all traces, namely because it really wasn't very good, was unlisted on my YouTube channel, sent to the BBC, and then left thinking it would get at least one watch from whoever was responsible for the audition process. But lo and behold, the new lineup was announced featuring mostly big-name faces, and my video, along with loads of others, remained unwatched. I don't want to join the pool of YouTubers and online speculators who form fact out of fiction over what went on and the reasons behind it, but without confirmation from the BBC, the audition process just comes across as a bit of a PR exercise. But I'm not bitter about not getting a look in, because as much as I struggle with the day-to-day process of building my own channel, I'm actually really happy to have the creative freedom and build up the links that I have. I'm also really pleased that, while it didn't reach the same heights as the previous format, most of the guys involved in the post-2016 Top Gear were at least able to remain employed and went on to find other work as a result. All of those researchers, camera operators, sound guys, production assistants and whatnot helped to keep the television machine rolling. I'm delighted for Rory Reid settling in on Auto Trader. I'm glad Chris Harris sustained his position on the show for as long as he has. I may not be the biggest fan of Paddy McGuinness, but I'm still happy that he was given a platform to highlight what it was like raising a son with autism. And while I never imagined Freddie Flintoff involved with anything resembling a motoring show, I do at least wish him and his family all the very best after his accident. Meanwhile, thanks to Amazon Prime, we've had another 8 years worth of ups and downs from the trio that got most of us heading down our respective roads in some way, shape or form. Okay, they've produced some clunkers, everybody does, hell I still do, but their move to streaming TV has been instrumental in the online transport scene that's developed since. Yes, not everybody likes them, not everybody agrees with them, they've made their share of wrong turns, but I defy people to look back at the last 22 years of these three working together and try to find an alternative trio who've had the same level of influence they've had around the world, along with the whole army of people working behind the scenes to make their broadcasting vision a reality. So, to Clarkson, Hammond, May, Willman, Porter, Collins, Klein and everybody involved in their 22-year journey through broadcasting together, thank you for giving the world so much information, entertainment, engagement, influence, and truly broadcasting greatness. I wish you all good health and all the best with any future endeavours. Thanks for leaving your mark on the landscape.
Well, it was fun while it lasted.
I'm Chris, and I'm here to gauge the issue.
I lost my mind in lockdown, time and time again. I lost my mind in lockdown.